So where did the Goa'uld actually get its technology from? Welcome to SciTrek, your sci-fi TV and movie channel. Now, this is a video that I'm definitely going to be encouraging you to get into the comments because I absolutely find it fascinating. The Goa'uld were always described as a parasitic race. They live off humans and before that lived of the species. But it was always implied that actually they were parasitical in the way they gathered their technology as well. That none of it was actually theirs. But there are a couple of possibilities. Now, the Goa'uld obviously were a very intelligent species. So, they could have invented a lot of this technology themselves. That is very possible. But because of the way they are, they're egomaniacs, they actually seem quite lazy. Does tend to suggest that actually they probably didn't actually invent a lot of this technology themselves. So that means mainly they acquired it. Now obviously the Tauri acquired a lot of our technology from other races, particularly the Asgard. But the Goa'uld technology doesn't really seem to look like a lot of the technology we've seen from some of the other, super races. It doesn't look like Asgard technology, and that wouldn't really make sense anyway, particularly as they were at war with each other and had this agreement in place. I'm going to talk about that in another video because I'm not sure that treaty with the Goa'uld and the Asgard actually made any sense. Again, get into the comments, tell me what you think about that. But the technology the Goa'uld use just doesn't look like that technology. It doesn't look like ancient technology, and now we all know that the ancients were kind of lazy when it came to tidying up after themselves. They left their technology all over the place. As far as it goes to Atlantis, they left a lot of it just on. But the technology that we see with the Goa'uld doesn't look like that technology. But there is another of the big four races that we don't know much about that maybe the Goa'uld got the technology from. Now, I'm not thinking of the Nox here. The Nox are, again, a very odd race that I'll probably talk about in another video again because, again, I don't think they really make sense. But, again, we don't know enough about them to really know what their technology looked like. However, I'm thinking it's more likely that maybe the Goa'uld got at least some of their technology from the Furlings. Now, the episode Paradise Lost tells us that actually the Goa'uld and the Furlings were in some sort of conflict at some point. We know that Paradise Lost was the Furlings had created this paradise where races could go and hide and be safe and live in, harmony. And that the Goa'uld sent that plant that made them all kill themselves and go nuts as a way of destroying that. We also know, though, that some of the Furlings' technology was left behind. So, the Goa'uld were in contact with the Furlings in some way. We don't really know what happened to the Furlings, not totally. So, maybe their demise was more to do with the Goa'uld than we realise. Maybe the Goa'uld, though, were able to get hold of a lot of that technology. Maybe Goa'uld even infected or took over some of the Furlings, because again, we don't know what they looked like. Now, I go with O'Neill's opinion of what they look like, and the little Ewoks, maybe that was them. We know, though, that Goa'uld preferred humans in the long run. But we don't know for certain that at some point they didn't look more like the Furlings. Maybe that's how they acquired their technology. Now, when they had no major enemy to worry about and they had the treaty with the Asgard, it does seem, as I said earlier, that the Goa'uld technology sort of stagnated. And we only really saw improvements when, we turned up and started bothering Apophis. We actually know that from the end of the first season, when Apophis was able to get to Earth to attack the Tauri far quicker than Teal'c thought possible. They saw a massive increase in the hyperdrive technology to counter an immediate threat. I wonder, though, whether there's a third possibility. Obviously, the Goa'uld do prefer human hosts because they're so pretty. maybe they came across a species like the Tolan. Perhaps they came across a humanoid race that had evolved that technology themselves, and the Goa'uld took over. Perhaps that's why the technology looks like nothing else we've ever actually seen, because it was actually invented, at least initially, by humanity. Now, we know that they took on the persona of the ancient gods, and that's why a lot of the technology looks the way it does, like the starship designs look like pyramids, etc. And a lot of their technology is sort of like crystal-based, which again we've seen from other races. There is, though, that third possibility. Maybe the Goa'uld really are a parasitical race, and they actually got their technology from lots of different sources. This is probably the version of this that I think is most likely. That maybe it is a little bit ancient. Maybe it is a little bit like from a human race, like somebody like the Tolan. Maybe it is stuff that they have at least partially invented or improved upon themselves. Their genetic memory means that this is a very intelligent and very capable species, and that they have shown that they're more than able to advance the technology when they need to. They advanced the technology that allowed them to subjugate humans, but didn't really bother with anything else. The perfect example of this is actually Anubis, who, thanks to his partial ascension, was able to get a lot more of ancient technology and advance his own technology very, very rapidly. That is exactly, I think, what the Goa'uld have done. They have, every time they come in contact with a different species, been able to absorb at least some of that information and that knowledge and gain new technology along the way. But because they are so egotistical and so, well, let's be honest, lazy, they maybe never took full advantage of that ability. So for millennia, they just ticked along. And then when a real threat, the Tauri, they were not able to adapt quickly enough. They were never able to adapt to things like the replicators, even though given enough time they might have been able to. And eventually that led to their virtual demise, or at very least, loss of power. Now the Goa'uld, they're still knocking around. They're still a threat, and they could still return. But for the moment at least, we have to wonder how they got to power in the first place. So get into the comments and give me your theory. You've heard mine. What's yours? If you are new to the channel, please don't forget to like, subscribe, but that bell notification, it really helps us out and you'll never miss any of our new videos. Also, you can go to patreon.com/SciTrek, where most of our new videos do premiere first, and you get to see them without any of the YouTube trailers, you lucky bunnies. As always, please stay safe, and I'll catch you next time.